Olá, seja bem-vindo a mais um episódio do podcast Preciso Saber, o podcast da Academia Judaica. Eu sou Karina, sou host do podcast e professora também da academia. Esse é um podcast para quem tem perguntas, porque no judaísmo, mais importante do que respostas é fazer as perguntas certas. Neste episódio, temos a honra de receber a doutora Channa Pinchasi. Ela é pesquisadora do Shalom Hartman Institute, facilitadora de espaços de pensamento sobre judaísmo e política pública e uma das vozes mais lúcidas do feminismo religioso em Israel. Esse episódio será em inglês, então começaremos a nossa conversa. Dr. Channa, your work brings together religious depth and feminist critique, two worlds often placed in tension. What first convinced you that this could live side by side?
I think, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a real privilege. I think that it started as an existential experience. I mean, it's not that it starts with a conflict. It's a conflict because I'm an Orthodox woman and I live my life in the 21st century. So the 21st century brings with it liberal values of equality, of the need of women to live full life in different areas of our lives, including religious life. And on the other hand, we have a tradition that has its constraints and limits and assumptions about women. And since my religious life is a crucial component of my life in general, I want to live it in the fullest way that I can. And there's the conflict is there, and the conflict is the engine for change. See, I believe that the Jewish culture, the Jewish tradition can cope and has the mechanism, the cultural mechanism, the religious mechanism to fit into every generation. And what our generation brings to to Jewish life, amongst other things, is the role of women. And if you think about it, until the 20th century, women did not participate in Jewish culture. Women did not write any book until the 20th century. The whole Jewish library until the 20th century is only men. So half of the Jewish people did not participate in Jewish culture. So how do we take part in our religious, in our culture, in a way that will be able to deepen it, to widen it, to bring in new ideas and new life. Now, it's not always easy because there are halachic issues, there are cultural issues, but my experience shows that there's the potential is huge potential, and whenever you start doing something, you feel the renewal, the option of renewal. It always comes with prices. It many times comes with conflicts, with close people, with authority, with your oneself. But I feel that this is a role that we were given, a gift to improve, for tikkun, for repair of our Jewish identity.
For many women, religious spaces have felt like sites of exclusion. So how do you reimagine Judaism as a path that welcomes difference, questions hierarchy, and allows women to find voice and purpose within it.
Even if you think about Jewish life as only as an orthodox realm, okay? Because it's very clear that in liberal communities things are easier. It's not that accurate, because liberal communities has their own issues with women, even though officially they're open. But even within the Orthodox community, you can think about many areas. First of all is Limud Torah itself, the study of Torah. These days, we have women in Israel and in the States, some in Europe too, that are speaking the language of halakha, of Jewish law. They're taking part in Limud Torah, which is the main core or pillar of Jewish life. And once women speak the language, they can participate in the conversation, they can impact the Jewish law. And that this is happening. That's one realm. The second is tefillah. I think that 20, 30 years ago, women, for example, would not say Kaddish after the passing of their parents or relatives. Now, if we think, we believe, we know, the Jewish, there's a Jewish wisdom in the way we mourn our death relatives. Women should take part in everything of the rituals that allows us to depart from our close family. So Kaddish, women saying Kaddish is not an halachic issue. So women can and should be saying Kaddish. And if we go to the funeral, any other component of funeral, of putting the, we can relate to other components of the funeral, of the shiva, of everything. And we can relate, I don't know, to Leil HaSeder, okay? So, for example, for women to lead Leil HaSeder, this is something that should be very easy. To read the book of Esther and Purim, to teach Torah, and even think about synagogue. Women can read the Torah. I mean, many things that to Orthodox people look as if there's no question about it. Once you get deeper in the Jewish tradition, you find out that it is much more open than what we think. What happens when your feminist eyes are open, that you understand that you have to reread everything that you learned. I mean, who were our mothers? What were their voices? What haven't we taken into account when we thought about them? It's just like any other culture, when it starts to renew itself, we look to our past again and trying to tell the story of who we are. I think that we have, if we look at every Chag, every celebration, every holiday that we have, we can think about the role of women there. Okay, if you have Hanukkah in school, okay, who lights the Chanukiah? Who has a voice? Who is expressing the Jewish wisdom, Jewish theology, Jewish uplifting? The representation of women in the Jewish public sphere, that's an important beginning too. And training women to be part of it, to dare to take part of it, I know it is a long process, but it is our role to encourage them, to make them experience a leadership process. I have to tell you that I myself, moved from a conservative, small c, conservative community to a more liberal and partnership minyan, what we call. And I found out that as an Orthodox woman, I experienced my davening, my prayer, as a very personal thing. Unlike men that are trained to express their prayer, their emotion in the public sphere. So once I moved to a liberal community, I was asked to, to lead, for example, Kabbalat Shabbat, which is halachically there's no issue because just reading together chapters from the Psalms, from Tehillim, that's what Kabbalat Shabbat. The role of the Chazan is just technical. I remember myself finding it interesting to have a loud voice that takes my personal religious experience to the public. And I'm sure people who listen to us understand how symbolic that is and what impact that it can have on other realms of life, political, professionals, and others.
I would like to ask you, we are in the 21st century, and a lot of things that you said that if we dip into the Jewish literature, into the Jewish, into the Tanakh, into the Torah, we could find that the place of women is not limited within the religion. And even though we are in the 21st century, we still find limitations in our communities, even in liberal communities, as you said. So even though the space is, in theory, is more open, is not that open, okay? So I would like to hear from you, what is your opinion about it? So why we still face this limitation? Is ignorance about the text? It's ignorance about the book, and we are the people of the book? Or it's about tradition? It's fear of facing the difference? It's fear of embracing this difference and embracing the place of women in the religion and in the community?
So first of all, I think we have to be aware of the fact that the question of equality are not a Jewish thing. Inferiority of women are in all religions, Christianity, Islam, and it's not only in the ancient world. If you think about Freud in the 20th century, he is one of the people who thought of women as inferior to men by biology. So it's the Jewish world within its largest context. So if you are in a chauvinist society in general, okay, Latin America, the Jewish community is part of that. So the Jewish world is within its context. That's one thing. The second is not ignorance. These are values. And we have to take into account that gender roles are part of our very basic identities. That's why it is so threatening to every society. Now, the belief that if all of us will have the ability to live our life fuller, it will enhance Jewish life. That's our role. We're not going to lose, we're going to gain. We can have more books, more limud Torah, more religiosity, more options. So we give the example of marriage. Okay, so there's people that deep in their heart will say, okay, if we change the roles in family, this endangers the project of Jewish family, of marriage. Maybe it's the other way around. Once men can experience their parenthood, they can be in the private sphere with their children and have a fuller life outside. And women as well can be mothers and can, for a long time, have full life. There will be less frustration and we'll have a marriage more stable than it used to be. So I respect the fears, but I want the conversation to be open about the prices of the conservative way of thinking. What is the price that we're paying? The price that we're paying is that God created us with neshama. That is what we call in Hebrew chelek elo mimal. God put in us part of Himself, and it is our role to fulfill every potential that we have. Now, if we live in a society that all of us, men and women, fulfilling only part of themselves, that's not what God wants from us. I have my body, I have my womb, I have my brains, I have my heart, I have my beliefs. I want each and every part of it to be expressed in my real life. The community should make it possible as much as we can. We have a very long way to go, but this is a privilege to live in a generation when the potential is there. I always remember that my grandparents didn't have the thoughts that I have, the ideas that I have. They didn't have the pain either, but this pain comes together with the ability to grow. And I thank God for that.
You lead and teach in Israeli spaces marked by ideological, religious, and gender divides. So, in your opinion, what are the most urgent questions emerging in those rooms today?
In the Israeli context?
Yes.
I think in the Israeli context, since it's a Jewish state, the question of religion and state is the crucial issue. Because the Israeli rabbinate is harming Jewish life and creates antagonism and hate towards Jewish life in a way that we have to fight politically, religiously, socially, and it has to do with the ability to freely marry, divorce, convert. See, conversion is an issue of women. It's a Jewish identity of the child is according to the woman. Conversion is a woman's issue. So the control of mikveh, the role of women in the rabbinic court. Just imagine the idea that the Israeli court women can be, a judge in the Supreme Court. In the rabbinic court, women cannot be judges. This is a shame. We have a long way to go, but if you ask me what's the first crucial thing to do is to have free Jewish life in Israel. I think we need to, Jewish establishment should regain the trust of Jewish Israeli citizens, a trust that it lost, unfortunately, and as Jews and as a Jewish state, it's a very high price to pay.
And do you think it changed before and after October 7th?
I think Israelis became more attached to their Jewish identity. I think that the conflict with the Haredi, with the ultra-Orthodox communities in Israel the tension is, and the anger, worse than it used to be. and the understanding that we have to reclaim. I mean, it can be traditional people, secular people, modern Orthodox communities, to reclaim the control over Jewish life in the Israeli, in our Jewish state. It's something that is much stronger than it was before October 7th. So I do hope in the upcoming elections it will be higher on the agenda than it was before.
For us to move forward, our podcast is called Preciso Saber, that in Portuguese is I Need to Know. So we always ask our interviewees, what do you think is something that our audience needs to know about what we discussed, about your work, your field of work? So I think about gender, then gender issues, feminism, whatever you think that our audience needs to know.
I think what your audience need to know is that opening our eyes to feminist thought in Jewish life and in other realms of life is both a painful process and an empowering one. And once your eyes are wide open, you can live your life fuller. And like every process, it's many times it can be painful and frustrating and raise anger. But at the same time, the potential of your religious life, communal life, professional life is growing as well. And you become part of a larger community of women and men who share the urgent need for tikkun, for repair of the world.
And I would like to ask you one more thing, if you have a book recommendation for our audience.
Standing Again at Sinai, it was published in 1990, so it's like 30-something years old, but I think it sets the basic ideas of feminist thinking about Judaism. And once you read it, the curiosity for what to read next will come naturally.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hannah, for this conversation. You were so generous to us and to share your knowledge and your thoughts about Jewish community and Jewish equality, gender equality. So thank you so much for this conversation. E eu quero agradecer também você que acompanhou até aqui nossa conversa. Continue acompanhando os conteúdos da Academia Judaica, sempre temos cursos novos à disposição e também os episódios do podcast Preciso Saber, que saem a cada 2 semanas às quartas-feiras. Eu sou Karina e até a próxima.